You've probably heard it before. Be like water. It sounds simple, peaceful even. But Lao Tzu didn't mean it as a slogan. He meant it as a way to live. A way to let go of everything you were told to chase and return to something quieter, truer, unshakable. This is not about disappearing. This is about becoming the kind of presence the world doesn't see coming, but can't live without once it arrives. So take a breath. You don't have to keep climbing. Let's descend for a moment into Chapter 8. The supreme good is like water, which benefits all of creation without trying to compete with it. It gathers in unpopular places. Thus, it is like the Tao. The location makes the dwelling good. Depth of understanding makes the mind good. A kind heart makes the giving good. Integrity makes the government good. Accomplishment makes your labors good. Proper timing makes a decision good. Only when there is no competition will we all live in peace. Water indiscriminately benefits all spaces and doesn't even try to become like the object or outdo the space. Water will gather in even the lowest or smallest space because, again, it acts indiscriminately. Acting indiscriminately, it is thus like the Tao and able to collect and pool in the highest and the lowest places. We are invited to act similarly and also go forth and nourish lowly areas around us. In being like water, we are invited to flow passively, yes, but in that passivity, we are also able to nourish the area around us, sometimes even change and reshape it. Water has many forms, and similarly, you need to be able to not only change shape, but change form depending on conditions. Doing so, you will be better able to nourish around you. Lao Tzu reminds us subtly to ground the water metaphor and offers qualities of what goodness looks like in different areas of life. The beauty of the Tao Te Ching to me is that the words are timeless. In your own life, you have seen a house that was beautiful, but in the worst spot, or the opposite, a beautiful lot with a house you wish was moved. But now abstract this. Sometimes you are in the wrong place, like a job or relationship, but the job and the relationship aren't bad. They're just a bad fit. And that's what we see reinforced here. Each time it is about fit and timing. It's hard to say which is which and when is when, but that's how going with the Tao rolls. You must only be rigid in your ability to flow, to adapt and change. A well-learned man who refuses to change their understanding will not leave a good mind. Each of these lines can be abstracted out and reduced down, taken literally and taken broadly. And I encourage you to pause and reflect on some of these and see what they mean for you and in the broader context of your life and the Tao. Welcome back. I hope that was fun. Maybe you've gotten the same message that I have, that this is not about being perfect, but is about a deeper reflection on goodness. In the Taoist concept, good is not defined by a set of beliefs that are concretely rooted, but it is a general common sense that pervades time and is more about alignment with the moment and matching action with need. Again, we return from whence we came, water. Water adapts in an instant. Spontaneously, it takes on new shapes. So is water good? In a broad sense, yes, because it simply is without being and gives without demanding. And even in this good, we see the drops of bad. We know that for all the life water brings, it can also bring hardships, like floods and tsunamis, storms and hurricanes. But zoomed out from the real life and practical terror that water can cause, we see that it is still part of the process. Those storms and floods are part of the flow, seemingly passive water being able to create ice storms and hurricanes that drown cities. I bring this up to keep your reference grounded. Not all that is good is without harm, and that is something to keep in mind when exploring the text and conceptualizing the cosmology, especially when coming from a Western background and religious framing. Getting back on track, we see that the storms are more of a reflection of the timing being wrong by human standards, because we live there and we have stuff going on there. But in the grand scheme of the natural cycles, the storm is part of the flow, and thus, like a storm is good because it helps to grow crops, the timing of the storm might ruin your birthday party. The same event, both good and bad, is a result of timing. Now, what about giving? When we give from a place outside of kindness, we're not truly giving. We are expecting something. Whether or not it's intentional, unless you give something with the intent of receiving nothing, you're not giving like the Tao. Seldom do humans give like the Tao, but when we do, we feel joy, because it truly brings joy to another person. When we give gifts, then hold them over people's heads, they usually do not feel grateful. The text also mentions the integrity of the government. A government in the Taoist sense always refers to a hierarchy, but this hierarchy is usually best exemplified by a very distant ruling class in an almost anarchic state. And this may be fitting for a text from the Warring States period. But I think this sentiment is universal. Many revolutions and overthrows of government are from heavy handed and very present governments. Obviously, some governments can exist in these conditions, especially when propped up by outside forces. But we see here that integrity refers to the ability of the government to stay upright and not be a hindrance to its people. When reflecting on labors, Sisyphus from Greek mythology comes to mind. Accomplishment is brought about when you see your labor has produced some effect. Sisyphus is out of alignment, cosmically so, and thus his labor is never accomplishing. Therefore, he toils, and toils endlessly. And this is the punishment, not seeing his work come to reality. In the ancient world, this was clear to all to see. Again, we see that this is not about perfection. It is about patience and understanding of a deeper realization of our actions and what constitutes good feeling and bad feeling, or efficacy and inactivity. And the final line reflects this whole message back to us, connecting us from the water of the greatest good to the timing of decisions. With competition, there is a need to strive, to agitate this patience, and in doing so, we are left restless, like leaves on the rippled surface of a pond. So here's some gentle questions you can carry with you today. Where in your life are you trying to rise when you're actually being invited to descend? Where are you trying to prove something when the deeper call is simply to serve? Where are you rushing when what's really needed is patience? You don't have to become a river overnight, but maybe you can notice where you're holding back the flow, trying to be solid when you're meant to be soft. Water never hurries, but it always arrives. And that's the spirit of chapter 8. Not to do more, but to live in a way that fits. Softly, quietly, constantly, like water. Thanks again to J.H. MacDonald for his translation of this chapter, and thank you for sitting with it, not to master it, but to let it shape you, little by little, the way water shapes stone. See you in Chapter 9. Peace.